So I think maybe I should start from the beginning.
Sure.
I suppose.
Yeah.
To make everything make sense.
Okay.
So back from like August 2019 to April 2020, I was in a very, very domestically abusive situation. It didn't start out that way.
Yeah.
It started out great. I mean, there were red flags, but by that time, my dating life had been so awful. I was just looking for anybody.
Yeah.
And this person right away, you know, was, oh yeah, I want you to be my girlfriend and I want to be serious with you and I love you, which is rare because being in the adult industry and being polyamorous and stuff like that, my dating pool is actually very small. People like the idea of having sex with me, but building a relationship and building a life is
That's harder for them to.
It's harder to find.
Yeah.
And so after, you know, that sort of rejection so long of being attached to people who were like, oh yeah, I'm going to date you and all my friends know you and my family knows you and we're going on vacation, but you're not my girlfriend. You know, it kind of wears on you. So you meet this person who says all the right things and, you know, wants to show me off and, you know, is proud to be with me. And, you know, it feels so good. And it's like you want to keep basking in the glow of that love.
Yeah, that attention, that adoration and
security.
Yeah.
And so then when the red flags start popping up, you ignore something here, you ignore something there, you overlook it, you think, well, it's not that bad. And, you know, okay, he does this, but at least he, you know, does this.
Yeah.
And what that turns into is being literally held captive and tortured for days on end.
Yeah.
And he was really, really sick. And I was brainwashed to the point where I really thought that I deserved everything that he did.
Wow.
And that if I said anything or did anything, I was ungrateful and disloyal. And who would believe me anyway because I am just this whore. And he's an upstanding citizen. He, you know, and really had me just thoroughly convinced that there was nothing that I could do and no way to escape. And I mean, and that was true a lot of the time, literally. And it's been so bizarre for me in that people, you know, you say you're in a domestic violence situation or that your boyfriend's abusive and people are just like, oh, you know, like, it's not a big deal. And so you have to divulge a little more and divulge a little more. And eventually it's kind of like your entire pain is on display for someone's entertainment to convince them that you were abused enough for them to feel sympathy towards you. And so that's why, you know, I tell people, I'm like, no, I was literally held captive and tortured by this person. And by tortured, I mean even up to the point of being waterboarded.
Wow.
And when I escaped in April 2020, I had to go through like, what do they call it? Deconditioning therapy. Like what they do for people who get out of cults.
Yeah. Yeah. Where you have to basically deprogram. And,
yes, deprogramming. That's the word I was looking for.
So
because I was so completely brainwashed that when I got out, I could not tell the difference between what were my thoughts and what were his thoughts. If something came up, somebody asked me my opinion, I didn't know if that was my opinion or his. And I had been trained and gaslit so hard to not believe my own thoughts in my own mind that I couldn't answer basic information questions about myself.
Yeah.
And he had me literally convinced that I had early onset dementia.
Jeez.
Because he just messed my brain up so much. And that level of trauma, which people don't realize, gives you brain damage.
Oh, really?
that level of trauma and PTSD gives you brain damage. They can see it on scans. Your brain is different. And to this day, my memory is not what it used to be. And it's embarrassing. I meet people and they know me or they remember me, and we had these talks, and I have to tell them anything before 2020, anything before 2019, I don't remember. So if I saw you pre-pandemic, I probably don't remember who you are. I don't remember. I have to have my friends tell me happy memories they have of us together because I don't remember them anymore. Like I am damaged because of what happened.
Yeah.
I am not the same. He robbed a lot from me.
Okay.
And part of that was my kinky identity and my sexual identity. Because there are things that I liked, like choking, that were used against me in a violent way.
Yeah.
That had never happened before.
Yeah.
And so now I have this level of fear connected to something that I used to love.
Sure.
And also, shame and worry. What if, lawyers come after me someday and they say, well, how can you say my client strangled you when you used to like to be choked?
Yeah, and that makes that makes it more complicated.
Yeah, very complicated. And so, having your identity stripped from you, even when it's something like sex, it's still strange to have that piece of you missing.
Yeah.
And have that part of your personality, which was a large part of my personality, all of a sudden it's gone. So he was one of those people who anybody that I ever shot with was not, was ugly, disgusting. Anyone, all of my exes, ugly, disgusting. They were never the perfect level of man that he required them to be, which I thought as a straight man, he had a lot of opinions on what men should look like and be like. He's a very odd duck. And
seems like one of the least troublesome or not troublesome, but just one of the least, things about him that might have been, a little.
Yeah, but he would rag on it constantly. Constantly bringing up that I was so disgusting because I shot with this person or, whatever, that everyone I was with before him was so gross and I was like tainted forever. And then
Except for him.
And anyone that he had been with before was fine.
Yeah. He was your salvation. He was, you will become the best person because I am so amazing.
Literally word for word.
Yeah,
word for word. Yeah. I was trash and he was going to make me better, but I had to do everything that he said all the time or else I was just going to stay the piece of shit that I was.
Yeah. That's,